back in the gym. Topic today: don't raise weak men. When I say don't raise weak men, I really mean don't raise weak children, men or women. It just sounded cooler saying weak men. I don't know why. Anyway, today's sponsor is, no, just kidding. I don't have any sponsors. I'm not even monetized. Anyway, so being a parent nowadays, man, it's an uphill battle. You know, you have everyone against you. You know, they go to schools and schools are telling them one thing and social media is telling them one thing and their favorite person on their YouTube video is telling them one thing. And maybe you as a parent are trying to tell them something the complete opposite of all that. One of the most popular and wealthy YouTube influencers out there had their best friend come out as trans, and they were okay with it. Now, you never know how well you do as a parent until something happens. You know, either they come home and say, "Dad, I got straight A's. I'm going to be, you know, summa cum laude," or whatever those Latin things are that I never could do, which is like my oldest son. Or they come home and say, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to be a girl now." Well, kind of screwed up, you know, one of those, right? I realized this very recently when my youngest son, who is in wrestling, last year during his leagues before he got into middle school, he did pretty good and he got into middle school. And he did not know this, and I did not know this, but their middle school in our area is the number one middle school in the area. We have one duel left in the year, and completely undefeated. I mean, completely, like, not even close. And so it's pretty impressive. So he's wrestling kids. He's 11. So he's wrestling kids that are 12, 13 years old in his weight class. He's not doing so hot this year. These kids have been taught how they do it in my school or our school or whatever, is they have a youth league, which is taught by 5 coaches, let's say. Those same 5 coaches teach middle school. Those same 5 coaches also teach high school. So they bring these children up from 5 years old all the way till, 18. Unreal. They had a couple of state tournament dudes, every year they have state tournament dudes in high school. Every year they have the big tournament for middle school. They have, top 5 finishers all the time. They also do really good with women. All the little girls, man, they wrestle their asses off, and they go out there and some of the girls, they're wrestling boys. These girls are, 11, 12, 13 years old, and they're wrestling boys their same age, and some of them are doing really, really good against them. It's amazing. So anyway, my son is not doing the best this year. Got some wins, got some losses, right? Again, he's 11 years old, and this is his, I guess he went to like 2nd year of wrestling, 2.5 years of wrestling. And he one match week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. This one kid from a different school, they were at a duel, and this kid just fucked him up. I mean, it was over in like 30 seconds. It was pretty bad. Obviously, my son was very, if you ever wrestled, or if you ever had a kid that wrestled, and you go to any wrestling tournament, you are going to see in every single corner of that school a young man that is upset and crying because that young man did not want to lose. And the young man hates losing so much that he gets physically, mentally, and emotionally upset. And he goes off and cries by himself in the corner. And then you're going to see coaches and mothers and fathers consoling that child, telling them it's okay. But in that kid's head, it's not okay. It's not okay at all. And that's good. That's good that they don't think it's okay to be a loser, or they don't think it's okay to lose. And they have that mentality they want to win. And it's an outstanding mentality to have. Now, when my son got beat, he was distraught, and he was hating life. And I went over to all the wrestlers were, and I talked to him. And I told him, I said, listen, you're 11 years old. You're wrestling kids that went through puberty a year ago, and they're way bigger, way stronger than you are, and they have a little bit more knowledge than you do, and that's just life, man. His coach and I both are on the same wavelength when it's, we'll take our lumps in 6th grade. It's okay. We'll take less lumps in 7th grade, and in 8th grade, these kids are going to be pretty damn good, and then they go to high school and they're going to win state. And I think that's awesome. But my son came up to me, and as we were talking, I said, hey, there's, feeling that way, that losing, that, getting destroyed in 30 seconds, like, it's not a good feeling, right? And we talked, and I said, well, there's 2 things that you can do. You can either A, quit wrestling, and you'll never feel that way again. Or you can B, have a little bit more dedication, train a little bit more off season, train a little bit harder in season, and then you'll be able to compete with these other kids. So left him with that. I went and sat back down. 15 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, and he walks up to the side of the bleachers. He's like, Dad, I've made my decision. I said, son, first and foremost, don't ever make a decision like this when you are upset, right? I go, but you know what? What's your decision? What are you thinking? And he goes, I don't ever want to feel like that again. And I'm definitely not quitting. And I said, okay. And I said, well, whatever you need, I'm going to facilitate that. We'll go to camps, we'll go to the gym, we'll do this, we'll write programs, whatever you want to do or whatever you need to do to get better, to make sure you don't feel like that again, I got you. And then he looked at me and he said, Dad, like his eyes were still all welled up. He said, Dad, do you promise? I said, fucking you're right, I promise, dude. Like, this it's one of the few promises that I guarantee I will keep. There's not, very many of them, but I guarantee this is one that I will keep. So, since then, man, he has been, they didn't have anybody for him to wrestle last week. Yeah, on Thursday last week, they didn't have anybody for him to wrestle, so he got a forfeit. They have one more duel on Tuesday, and then they have a tournament next Saturday, and then that's it for the season. He took his lumps this season, he came out hot and heavy, bam, bam. And then he kind of wrestled some other schools that were pretty good, and took his lumps. But when he came to me, he said, I don't want to feel that way again. I'm never going to quit. That let me know that I'm doing something right. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I hit him enough or yelled at him enough or, whatever. But I'm doing something right. Because in that instant, I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That right there is going to get you farther in life than anything else. Because that mentality of, I hate to lose, I'm not going to quit, I'm not going to fucking give up, you're going to have to fucking kill me to get me out of here. That mentality is going to get you as far as you want to go in whatever you do. And again, not about little boys. This story is about my son, obviously, but not about little boys, because I've seen little girls on his team kind of do the same thing. I've seen little girls, one big tournament they had, this little girl got 2nd place and she lost. It was horrible because she lost at the very last second by 1 point, and it was bad. And she was bawling and crying, and I wanted to go up to her and I want to be like, you know what? It's okay. It's all right. It's okay, Oakley. We got you. But, you can't do that to every kid, you know what I mean? So, lesson for all you parents out there, guys, girls, little boys, little daughters, what have you. Don't let them grow up and think that it's okay to quit. Don't let them grow up and think it's okay to lose. Let them know that being a winner, not necessarily being a winner, but not quitting, because sometimes you're going to lose. Everybody loses something, right? But not quitting, being able to lose, watch the other person get their hand raised, dust yourself off, and go back to work so that next time you see that person, it's not the same person that you're going to wrestle, right? And again, no matter what you do, if you're a lawyer, you're in a courtroom, you get destroyed in a courtroom, come back, face that dude again, law enforcement, dude, it takes a lot of lumps there, tell you what. But you got to be able to, pull up your pants, go back to work, right? And it's something they don't teach in school. It's something that a lot of parents don't teach. It's something that a lot of people don't teach, because it's hard to teach that. And it's hard to not only teach that, but be the example of that. And, I tell my kids, like, listen, I was not the star athlete. I damn sure wasn't like the star dude getting all the good grades. I was not that. I was purely focused on having a good time in high school, partying, chicks, drugs, booze, like that's what I was focused on. My high school career was not anything spectacular whatsoever. But I tell my kids that. I'm like, listen, I quit this sport because I was mad at the coach for whatever reason. And immediately when I quit, I regretted it. I immediately said, dude, that was so stupid. Why'd I do that, And then you have the rest of the year to think about why you did that. When I apply to jobs, every job that I've applied to, I have to give them a transcript of my high school GPA and all that stuff. And when I look at it, I'm just completely embarrassed by how bad it is. Because if you look at my high school and then you look at my college is really, really good, and my high school is really, really bad. And it's very embarrassing. And I tell them that. And I tell them that it's okay to mess up and it's okay to screw up, as long as you learn from it and you never let it happen again. And I screwed up a whole bunch of times. High school, out of school, whatever, right? Army, everything. Screwed everything up. But as long as you learn from it, you learn how to take your lumps, and you learn how to dust yourself off and get back in the fight, man, you're good to go. The problem now is, how do you combat social media and schools and everybody else that's trying to teach your kids something else? Teach your kids that it's okay to lose, and it's okay to do this, and it's okay to do that, and it's okay to quit. That's the hard part. Can't tell you how to do that. I'm still working on it myself. However, I'll say this. You're not alone. There's a whole bunch of us out there. Because I can tell you this, no matter what anybody says, wrestling is still a pretty damn redneck sport. There's a whole bunch of us out there that are putting our little kids in this sport, and they're doing pretty damn good. And every time I see a little kid crying, I see a mom and a dad hugging them. Tell them, hey, there's always tomorrow, buddy. You'll beat them tomorrow. Get out there, work a little bit harder, and you'll beat them next time. So, hey, that's all I got. I'm definitely not the best dad in the world by any stretch of the imagination. But my kids aren't that bad, man. I got one kid that's in the National Honor Society. He just got his high school letter for academics, something I could never, ever fucking do. That's for damn sure. My youngest son's got A's and B's, and he's a pretty good little wrestler, and I think he's going to grow up to be a pretty damn good wrestler. And I still let them be kids. Still let them play their video games, their stupid little card games, and all that shit. Because you know why? Because they're still kids, man. But at the end of the day, ask yourself, as a parent, are you an asset or a liability?